Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Thank you as always for your tweets. Gab is here, as is a very smart Jan. Jan, you're very dressed up. Where are you?
I am in Amsterdam after being in Rome last night doing Dortmund against Lazio. Tonight I did Ajax, Liverpool, and then I rushed up here to the 7th floor in my hotel to speak to you guys.
Oh, wow, Jan. Stevie said on the show that he didn't think Liverpool were lucky tonight.
They were not lucky.
Mm-hmm.
I just had a privilege to talk to Jurgen Klopp. He didn't say they were lucky. He just said, I like these kind of SHY games.
Good, good. Because spelling it doesn't make it naughty, Jan.
I'm not naughty at all. But it just that some of these games they are to be won. Are you not allowed to say that?
I'm not quite sure spelling it really gets us around it. We'll see. If they keep it in, they keep it in. I'm not taking responsibility for it. Jan, and you were saying you were at Dortmund 24 hours before that for the Lazio game, obviously, in Rome. They were disappointing, weren't they?
They were very disappointing. And like Favre said straight after the game, that there were people in the first half that were not on at all. I mean, our man, Erling Haaland, I guess he was the only one who could say that he was on target. He scored a goal and he had a couple of other chances, but the rest of the team, very sad. And Dortmund, not good, but Lazio, they impressed me. And Immobile, what a player. That is a striker union. I can look at a player like that all day long. The calmness he's got, that goal after 5 minutes, he just like it's a normal day. Give me the ball, I will score you a goal. 36 goals last season. Now he's starting in the Champions League as well. Fantastic player. Lazio, be aware of Lazio. They can go further in this competition, although they lost 3-0 against Sampdoria the game before. So it's a funny old game.
Gab, are you jealous of Jan's gallivanting?
And the fact that he got to see Ciro Immobile in the flesh. I do miss a little bit of the travel. I think it must be the incredibly expensive insurance policy on me that keeps the company from sending me around the world. But no, he made a really good observation on Lazio. I thought they were outstanding. I was really disappointed in Dortmund, especially after he rested all those guys at the weekend and then realized that he needed them, and then he sends them out, and they were still very, very poor. And I also want to highlight, though, for Lazio, they were awful. I mean, they were really bad against Sampdoria, and they were great here. And I mean, shout out to Luis Alberto with some moments of skill. We saw many, many more goals and great goals on Wednesday night, but I think Tuesday night, Luis Alberto had to be one of the top three.
But I think if I may say, I think that the way Inzaghi, we talked to the Dortmund players after the game, and they were very impressed how Inzaghi had organized their team. Dortmund felt it was difficult to break through in the way he organized it, and I think that was a very, very organized and a very disciplined Lazio team. I haven't seen enough. I think it's the first time I've seen them live for a long, long time, and they impressed me. And Inzaghi was a very lucky person standing in the flash after the game with a win against Dortmund, of course.
Okay, let's get on with the questions, shall we? When will the crew start bashing Zidane like they do anything Barca or Ole?
I need to get my glasses on now.
You have to, yeah, there you go. I'm glad I don't work at Real Madrid TV anymore at the moment, because it's very difficult to put anything positive after their performances over the last couple of games. Gab, Zidane, why do you keep letting Zidane off?
Well, we didn't let him off after the Cadiz game, and the reason I didn't let him off is because, unlike these other people who you mentioned, the guy's actually achieved something. I'm going to leave aside all the stuff that he achieved as a player, because why go there? But the guy has won 2 league titles at Real Madrid. The guy has won 3 European Cups, or Champions League titles, as the kids now call them, at Real Madrid. That's why he's built up enough credit that you trust him, and you trust that he can go and make it work. And that's the fact of the matter, is if you have a resume, people will go and they will give you more time. If you're Ronald Koeman and you're Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I'm sorry, but you can't carry this guy's jock in terms of resume. Now, all that said, when Zidane makes mistakes, and I think inevitably some of the choices he made tonight didn't work out, when he sends out a team that looks entirely unprepared, like they did against Cadiz, yeah, of course he deserves criticism. He deserves a lot of criticism when that happens. Nobody's giving him a pass. But, we need to see more than one stinker in a row, or in this case, two stinkers, before we start going and giving him a hard time, precisely because he has built up all this credit. And he didn't build up all this credit 20 years ago. He built up all this credit last year when he won La Liga. Or rather, he continued building his credit last year. Obviously, he had it from before. So it's as simple as that. And these people really, really bug me when they're like, oh, why do you have a go at him and not at him? Well, you know what? There's usually a reason.
Wow. Okay.
But I think just to strengthen that point, I agree with what being said. But there are so many lazy football pundits around, because when Real Madrid win a title, people say it's because Zinedine just let his players play football. When he loses games, people say it's just because he let his players play football. So we kind of find a middle position. So we never give him credit for the wins, and we never give him credit for the losses. And I think that is the sad thing. And then another sad thing, when I saw that result today, I just followed that on live update, of course. They were 3-0 down to Shakhtar Donetsk. I'm thinking this Super Galacticos Premium University kind of league that the big clubs won. This is why they want it, because they don't want to lose against Shakhtar Donetsk. They just want to play each other. They want that American thing that you can never lose game, that you can only keep on playing all the time.
Next question is a good one. At this point, would you put your money on Bayern Munich, Jan, or the field?
Or
anybody else? Bayern Munich or anybody else?
Well, I'm not a gambler. That is a bad gamble if someone said, I'll give you 100 and I give every other team, because the Champions League is hard to win. But I think that result today and tonight, that is a massive one. Remember, they have Gnabry out with a corona test, and there is, any team then will think, well, what's going on here? Will there be other players? We could be insecure. We're playing against an Atletico Madrid team who is always so difficult to beat, and Bayern Munich winning big. And very, very impressive. I will say they are the favorites to win it. But would I do a bet saying that all other teams can't beat them? Of course they can. But Bayern at the moment, I can't see a lot of things they do wrong in Bayern at the moment, both on management skill. There was a big article in Sportbild this week and just show you how they were doing their recruiting. When the experienced players comes up to Salihamidzic, Rummenigge and the rest of the boys, and they say, listen, we are a bit worried that our squad is not broad enough. And then Salihamidzic is presented a shadow team that he has built up with different alternatives, if not the best players that he had on his list would succeed to come there. Compare that with some other clubs in Europe at the moment, and it's like unbelievable the space between Bayern Munich and a lot of the other teams in terms of recruiting as well.
Sticking with Bayern, Gab, did Bayern clone Thiago and make him Kimmich?
Kimmich had that in his locker before. Kimmich is he's really a remarkable player. Going back to when he was younger, when he played in midfield. This guy's played center back. He's played right back. But he has that range of passing in the middle of the park. And I think in the past, he was probably penalized a little bit by his versatility, by the fact that, he's not a big fancy signing from Barcelona the way Thiago was. I think he's a different player, but he certainly has the ability to hit those defense splitting passes, and is just remarkably consistent and reliable in there. I think very few players are able to combine what we call quality with quantity. And certainly, in his position, Kimmich, I think, has got to be one of the best around.
Do you only say that in Italy?
It's an Italian expression. I haven't heard too many Anglo pundits go out and say that. I don't know. Maybe you can tell me the last time Craig Burley saying, he's got quantity and quality. Is that or Stevie. I don't know. Have you heard this?
I don't know. It's got a lot of syllables in
Is that a typical?
It's got a lot of syllables in for them. Jan, why have Dortmund not sacked Favre and gone for Pochettino already? They always seem to falter against the top teams, something Pochettino would sort out, and he's good with young players.
Well, Favre is not bad with young players either, is he? He has developed some good players, attracted some good players, but it's a fair point because there is a limit where you will think that Favre can't take this club any further. And sometimes you feel that. Sometimes also you feel that he is a victim of the philosophy at the club, and I say that in a good way, because if you see the way they are getting players in, if you get your Reina in, they will say, well, you will play there, and Bellingham, you will. We have promised you will play in the Champions League. Maybe that was not the best selection last night to play him in the starting 11, but you develop him into a better player. In terms of Pochettino, I think that, the Germans, they are a bit conservative when they got to get coaches in. Yes, Pochettino is very good with young players, but they send like for example in Schalke, they will take a typical kind of boring German coach. I'm not saying he's bad; it's just like a boring signing. So sometimes the Germans are a bit afraid of doing those kind of things. What is worrying with Favre, I think that is plan A is looking quite good. But his plan B, well, does he have a plan B? And I think that is the big challenge now with Dortmund. They don't seem to getting closer to Bayern, just time spells into the game. So it's a bit worrying time. I can't see him last long there. Will he end the season at Dortmund? Yeah, I got a feeling he will. But you never know. You have Matthias Sammer, you have Sorg, you have Sebastian Kehl, quite profile people around him, so maybe suddenly they will say we'll do something else.
Jan,
sorry, Dan, just in the back of that,
yes,
you mentioned the brain trust there, Sammer, Kehl, and Zorc, and we've all praised them for their incredible recruitment and bringing in all this young talent. The question I would love to ask them, and Jan, when you bump into Sebit next time, please ask him, or Matthias, you have a very, very good center forward named Erling Haaland. You don't have a backup center forward. For all your recruitment, all your balanced squad, when Haaland doesn't play because he's injured or because he's being rested, like we saw at the weekend, you have to play Julian Brandt up front, which becomes a completely different team, and it simply doesn't work. And I know before you bring up Moukoko, let me remind you the guy's 15 years old, 1-5. Did they not think about this? Hey, maybe we could use just a body to go out there and stand and do the same runs that Haaland does, just not as well and not as effectively, so that we don't have to radically change the way we play whenever he's not there?
And I guess this weekend, Gab, it was a bad day for the striker union, because when we started the game, Dortmund playing without striker, RB Leipzig with all their strikers playing without strikers. It was a bad day. But Favre sometimes tend to like that, to play without that kind of striking role. And sometimes I think we're always, when you have strong personalities in and around the team, but it's a decision of the managers. And I heard the stories about them being not 100% agree on what kind of players they will bring in. And sometimes we have to defend them as well, because which striker can you bring in without Choupo-Moting? He can always be brought in as a player who just plays when Lewandowski is not playing. So it's maybe hard to find that type of player. I try to defend Favre now because I 100% agree with you, Gab.
I don't know why Gab's having to go at a 15-year-old. Gab, that's a new low for you. Jan, how far do you think Manchester United can go in the Champions League this season? Jan, normally we have you on to defend Ole, when we're all going, he's rubbish, he's out of his depth, he's just because he's a Manchester United player. You get to wallow in his great victory away against PSG.
Can you believe it? The players, they were running, they were fighting, they were winning for their manager. Bruno Fernandes apparently was against his own manager, and he said it in the media. Of course he didn't. This is just what you spin up when a manager start losing games. It's like if you saw the press conference of Klopp yesterday, how annoyed he was on all these questions about him getting in a replacement before Van Dijk even had left Liverpool to get his treatment. I think that Ole Gunnar will stay. He has got a fantastic skill of winning games when he needs to win games. Do I think they will go very far in the Champions League? No, not at the moment. But you are seeing when they are building up that kind of self-confidence that they got away at Newcastle and now in Paris. And Paris, you correct me if I'm wrong. I think that was the first group stage home game they lost since 2004. Yeah. So it's by all means a great result for Manchester United. And again, Paris indecisive for Ole Gunnar.
Yeah, PSG were terrible though, Jan. And if they lose against Chelsea at the weekend, you're back to square one again.
Well, math in football, Dan, that can never happen. You're Sampdoria winning 3-0 against Lazio beating Dortmund, and so on and so on. So math will never do it. This time, we have to pray Manchester United for winning a game away at PSG. That was a great result for the Red Devils.
It's another question for you, Jan. Take that, Gab. After arguably being the best left back in the world last season, why is Alphonso Davies no longer starting for Bayern? Is Hernandez really that good?
Is Hernandez really that expensive? I think we should start there. but first the young Canadian just took the team to the treble last season, and now they're using their 70-80 million euro player. I think this is a normal thing with young kids, and I think that is a luxury of clubs like Bayern Munich, because they can use, like Dortmund as well, they can play them and then they can take them out to the limelight, it's the word, for a while, and then get them hungry again, calm them down. In Hansi Flick, they got the best manager to do that, and I don't think this is any spectacular. But Davies, I mean, maybe the best left back in the whole world last season. He will get his games, but I think it's a good way to kind of take him a bit in and out of the team. As you know, every football player and every young player wants to play all the time, and I think then some coaches need to be adults then again to take the heating off them a bit.
Right, Gab, rank these 4 strikers in their prime in order: David Trezeguet, Filippo Inzaghi, Hernán Crespo, Gabriel Batistuta.
All right, I'm going to put Batistuta at the top because he's the Lion King.
You can make it quick.
I'll go Batigol, and then Crespo, Trezeguet, Inzaghi.
Jan?
Well, the two, I will put Inzaghi in number 3 because he was that kind of this kind of snake, and I also saw him yesterday, so I have to give him a bit credit for that. But Inzaghi was that kind of striker who was always just floating around, and then suddenly, bang, you have scored a goal. I love that kind of striker.
So what about the others?
No, but I agree with Gab. I think, but Batistuta was more. Lion King is a good word to describe it. Batistuta had more skills than an Inzaghi. He was more the all-rounder. He could get the ball, and remember scoring so many goals that he did in those days. I mean, it was not like the attackers were protected like they are today. And the way he did it in Serie A for Fiorentina was second to none. I used to love that player.
Jan, how's life now that you don't have to report on Sancho to United?
Oh, isn't that on again this winter? No, it's been calmer. Of course, I also see that the Manchester United fans are very happy that Sancho is not playing well at the moment, and he hasn't. But it was funny. I just have to find a way. I was with Dortmund last night in Rome, and let's put it this way. I had a very interesting conversation with some management there. But I have to wait for that information till things calm down a bit, because I'm not sure that Manchester United fans will like it.
Oh, what a tease, Jan.
Yeah, I know.
How are we going to sleep tonight? Right, final question for you, Gab. How embarrassingly bad is the NFC East? Who's in the NFC East, Gab? You've got, obviously, the Eagles, the Cowboys are there as well.
It's the Washington football team.
Washington as well. Yeah.
And the New York Giants. And they're basically All right, the last two teams, Giants and Washington, are absolutely appalling, and an argument for relegation from the NFL. The Cowboys are yucky and disgusting, but they were supposed to be good, but they're going to be really bad because unfortunately, Dak Prescott, unfortunately for them and for him, Dak Prescott who's their star quarterback, got injured. The Eagles are pretty bad as well. But you know what? I think this is definitely looking like one of those seasons where you're going to win the division with a losing record.
Wow. Jan's had enough. He's gone. Thank you very much then, gents. We'll be back tomorrow for more. Until then, goodbye.